So I owned this on VHS as a kid. It was one of the few VHSs I owned. I had a handful of them. I watched this a lot. There were some adult jokes that I remembered as a kid, like the "son of a bitch" line, where he cuts off his tail and then they like censor what he's saying. Um, but they actually make that same joke twice. Because Alec Baldwin, that piece of shit, he's in this movie. Um, he has this line where he's about to call him son of a bitch, but then he doesn't. He's like, son of the mother I love, or something like that. Um, so I think that takes that joke down a little bit, but I still think it's hilarious. Like, I think that's the best joke in the movie, him cutting off his own tail. Um, let's talk about the two characters. We got Dakota Fanning as the sister. Then there's Spencer Breslin as the brother. He was in the Santa Claus movies as the one, like, I believe he was the elf that like followed rules like crazy. But it's been a long time since I've seen those movies. He's probably in something else. I believe Dakota Fanning's also in Charlotte's Web. Like, she did a lot of movies as a kid. Um, and then of course Cat in the Hat himself is played by Mike Myers, and some of his jokes work, some of them don't. I don't really like him in this role. I don't really have someone pictured as Cat in the Hat, but you know, he's just he's fine. The fish is on the poster, but he doesn't really do that much in this movie. Like there's like one or two scenes of him saying, "Hey, I told you so," and then there's also like when he is telling them that they shouldn't do this. And that's really the most memorable stuff he has. Like, there's also him getting thrown in the toilet, and that is the funniest joke in the movie, where he's like, "Hey, this is where they buried my brother." Um, then I thought, there's like one other scene with him. He gets put in the backpack, and Cat in the Hat threatens him, so he's be quiet. It's just, I don't know why I said it like that. But there isn't too much of a plot to this movie. But I guess I'll explain what kind of plot it is. The mom is, having trouble with the son. He never behaves, he never listens to her. And this time she really does need him to listen to her. And is going to have a meeting at her house, and she wants the house to be clean. But of course, it doesn't end up going that way. And that's like her one wish. There's some stakes to the movie, like he might go to military school if the house gets messed up. But the movie itself, not until the climax of the movie does she even debate doing that. Like, the majority of the movie, she's telling him no, her boyfriend no, that she doesn't want to send him to military school. So there really isn't that much stakes. I don't I don't know what they were thinking when they were setting it up like that. And there's also like a little bit of stuff with the sister, like, oh, she has trouble making friends, and then she feels sad that she wasn't invited to a party, even though she doesn't really like those girls. That doesn't, add too much to the movie. It's just kind of there. They, end up cleaning the house because they learned a lesson, and, the mom doesn't stay with the boyfriend. It's kind of a generic movie. I remember loving it as a kid, but I can definitely see why people don't like it nowadays. There's a lot of people who think it's hilarious, and it's definitely gained a cult following since then. A lot of people love this movie now. It wasn't really well received when it came out, but uh, you know, I don't really care for it as much anymore. It's not too bad. I will never go like crazy on a kids movie, because at the end of the day it is entertainment for children. But I am going to criticize stuff a little bit for it not being that entertaining anyway. I mean, I liked it as a kid, but I wasn't a huge fan. The thing 1 and thing 2 are probably the best parts of this movie. They don't get to do too much. They show up pretty early. I remember them being like a later edition, but I believe they showed up at like the 30-minute mark, and this movie is like an hour and 30 minutes. I think that's pretty early, but they still don't do that much. Um, they're pretty cool though. I think they're pretty funny. Um, the guy that plays the ice cream man and is in a lot of horror movies, I believe his name is like Clint something, has like a brief scene where he plays a delivery person named Kate, and that's like the only thing he does. And I will say, as a kid, the scene, it doesn't bother me now, but always as a kid, there's a scene in this movie where they parody people that work on cars, and like the Cat in the Hat like has this crack hanging out, and that always grossed me out as a kid. But now it just kind of like eh. And yeah, I guess that's about it for Cat in the Hat. There just isn't that much to it.